Is this Tarkov's worst wipe? No, not even close. If someone is saying something like this, I can only assume that they started playing sometime in the past two wipes. Relative to last wipe, 0.14, sure, this wipe is not nearly as good, but 16 months ago, I was genuinely worried about the future of my channel. So, I would make the argument that that was probably the worst wipe in the game's history. That being said, is this wipe unenjoyable for a large number of people? Seemingly yes, and I want to explore why I think that is. I think the big issue of this wipe is that the interest to struggle ratio is just not good. Here's what I mean. 0.14, last wipe, was, in my opinion, one of the greatest wipes that Tarkov has ever had. Now, does that mean it was without flaw? Absolutely not. It had a lot of issues on launch. The armor plate system, when it was first introduced, was terrible. It made armor basically worthless. Vacuum cheaters were everywhere. Audio was broken again. Bunch of problems. That being said, there was also a bunch of stuff added that made struggling through those issues worthwhile. Every gun was suddenly viable because of recoil changes, a new map in the form of Ground Zero, vaulting, the BTR, the shoulder lean, even though it wasn't that good, it was still interesting. Snow was everywhere, it was new, it felt fresh. Because of these features, players wanted to experiment with the game, they were willing to put up with the other problems. There was enough stuff that was interesting that it made going through the struggles worth it. There was enough new, interesting, good stuff that people were willing to take the good with the bad. I don't really think that's the case this wipe. Every new thing that has been added this wipe either has a very minor impact or has issues that make it not enjoyable. Let's take a look at literally everything that was added this wipe. First of all, we have the factory map. From a layout perspective, I think it's pretty cool. I think it does a good job of updating the factory location while also preserving the feel and vibe of the old map. That being said, it's still too dark. Factory was the map that I would say relied heaviest on skill and movement. There wasn't too much of a map you needed to know. There weren't too many crazy rotates that could catch you off guard. It very much became a who is better at moving and who's better at shooting. In the early wipe, when everyone was trying to get Tarkov Shooter Part 3 done, bolt action duels were a lot of fun because all the fluff was removed. Whoever came out on top was the person that was better at aiming. It was a lot of fun. In the late wipe, people would be running around with either pretty good or really stupid kits, which just made it a mixed bag of variety and, again, fun. The new lighting makes it a lot harder to do any of this. There have been many instances where a muzzle flash just materializes out of a dark corner and all of a sudden my brains are on the floor. In my opinion, it has made the map harder to enjoy, and because of that, I just don't really like to go here now. The new boss that got added is very rarely seen unless you are actively trying to make him hunt you. Even worse, he doesn't have loot that makes drawing him out worthwhile, and the fight against him isn't very interesting. Fighting Partisan typically boils down to, did I kill him before he even raised his weapon, or did he murder me out of nowhere? That's it. The new tripwires are almost never used unless it's a streamer or YouTuber trying to get a clip, so you can scratch that one off the list. Bipods are a cool idea, but they aren't all that useful. There are exactly two playstyles where bipods are really good, and that is if you are ambushing or sniping while remaining prone for an extended period of time. Unfortunately, both of these playstyles are actively punished by Mr. Parmigiano over here. So again, a cool idea, a cool thing, doesn't have a lot of impact. You can't really use it that much. Then there's the most significant additions in the form of the new weapons. Of the 6 new weapons added, the SR3M and the Uzi Pro are viable, the standard Uzi is okay as an early wipe weapon, and the Deagles and the M60 are meme guns. Since the SR3M is locked behind a ton of progression, the only new effective toy that a lot of people get to use right now is the Uzi Pro. Now again, the M60 and the Deagles aren't great, but they are fun. I think a big issue a lot of people have, especially in a game like Escape from Tarkov, is they optimize the fun out of it. That being said, is this fun worth putting up with the wipe's numerous issues? I don't really think so. The only good thing I can think of that was added that doesn't really have any strings attached is the smooth zoom with the voodoos and the scopes right now. This is insane. I love this. It's awesome. However, is it enough to carry the wipe on its own? Now, let's talk about the numerous issues that make playing this wipe especially agitating. First off, we have the rep issue, which is a huge problem. The fact that you can lose a large amount of progress to a bug is incredibly demoralizing. Losing a kit is one thing, but losing the progress of a quest, if not several quests, and losing your ability to access certain items that you have already earned because your trader rep dropped is quite literally game-breaking. One of my friends completed Shooterborn in Heaven, and then he logged onto Arena, which caused the entire Shooterborn quest to be reset. I can't imagine completing a quest of that size and then having the game just go, nah, piss off, do it again. I do not blame him for not wanting to play the wipe anymore. This game is far too much of a time commitment for stuff like that to happen. Now, on to actual gameplay. Scavs remain ridiculous. A comment I received a lot on my last video where I covered this topic is that this somehow encourages PvP. No, it doesn't. Sure, it forces people to make more noise, but you can't engage in good PvP when every scav in a 90-mile radius is breathing down the back of your neck. It makes PvP harder to get to because you can't move through the map properly. Half of the rotates that I used before now require me to clear out 15 scavs at the bare minimum, otherwise I'm gonna get lasered in the ass instantly. It's hard for me to focus on the other player in a fight when a scav is wandering up behind me every 2 seconds. This remains one of the biggest turnoffs for me. And finally, they broke the audio again. A 5-foot difference in elevation can make somebody's sprinting footsteps completely silent. Meanwhile, gunshots sound like they're going off in my frickin' head. I can't hear players, I can't hear scavs. It is incredibly frustrating to try to locate people by ear right now. This comes together to make Tarkov really hard to play, even more so than before. Every game out there has flaws. The question we end up asking ourselves is, why am I willing to put up with these issues? Do I love the story? Do I love the setting? Is the gameplay good enough to make dealing with these issues worth it? Unfortunately for Tarkov, I don't think this wipe has enough fun new stuff to make putting up with all these issues worth it for a lot of people. Well, Levi, that's kind of a downer. Is the game doomed? Absolutely not. Unlike in the past, a lot of these issues seem like they can be fixed just with tweaking. The foundations for all the systems that are currently in the game, I think, are in a really, really good state. If they are able to fix the arena rep issue, if they are able to, I'm not even going to say fix audio, but just make it mildly less terrible, and if they are able to tune down the scavs, I can confidently say that Escape from Tarkov will be in one of the best states it has ever been in. Right now, though, it's just not that worth it for a lot of people, myself included. So no, it's not the worst wipe in Tarkov's history. There's problems, but I think they will be relatively easy to fix. That being said, I'm probably not going to be playing the game nearly as much until those issues are remedied, because again, I just don't have the time or patience to put up with this. So obviously, I'm still going to upload Escape from Tarkov. It is the lifeblood of my channel, but diversity content might become a bit more common. I think I'm going to start to do 2 Tarkov videos and then a different game, or hell, I might even start doing every other. We'll just have to see how things go. Other than that, thank you so much for watching, especially all the way to the end, and I hope you enjoyed, even though the lighting is kind of bad. Whatever. Have a good one.